Hi, I'm Mac McCarthy, and I help people with their breakups. And today I'm unpacking a story that just came into the website, writemac.com. If you have a story you want to share, please send it into writemac.com. If you'd like to book a live coaching session and fully unpack your breakup story, send that into writemac.com. If you don't find the advice or the unpacking to your liking, I'll give you a refund. I always offer that. If it's not helpful or useful in you moving forward, I don't want your money. Haven't had to do it yet, but I stand on that, as the great E40 says. So, today we have Narcissistic Ex comes back to haunt you. Trauma with past ex leads to breakup. So I'll get into that in a moment. Jasper J, always a pleasure. We got to connect. I want to take you up on the offer and be on the next live stream. Jasper J, it will be a pleasure to get a Hawaiian Legends opinion on the show. Absolutely, that'd be great. I think you still have a session left, so let's be in contact soon to see what's going on with you, bud. Hope all is well. Roller Girl, keep rolling. Yeah, so before we get into this today, full disclosure, I've never thought of myself having someone that I, was with that was an ex that was narcissistic, but, looking at it, there's narcissistic tendencies. But deeper than the narcissistic ex comes back to haunt you, I think if you have a bad breakup, a bad relationship, and you get into a new relationship, and the relationship, dare I say, is good. Let's not even say outstanding, great, excellent, superior, fantastic. Let's just say it's good. Let's just be simple with it. If you had a past relationship that was really bad, you're going to have triggers and booby traps laid out for the new relationship, because they're going to do something that reminds you of something that happened in your past relationship, and it's going to trigger you. And it could sabotage your new relationship that's pretty good. And this happens a lot. A lot of people are in a relationship and they believe, hold on one sec. They believe that the person they're with, why are they acting this way? Why are they overreacting? Why are they so jealous? Why are they accusing me of this? It's probably because of their past relationship, and they look at you as being capable of doing what their past partner did. And so this is what happens a lot. I'm not sure this was the case in this particular story, but it happens a lot. So someone, when they talk about their past breakup, really listen. And I've said this many times before. This is something I've come to realize that I didn't really put into practice in my own life. You can be mindful, you can be intuitive, but a lot of people don't listen to the words people talk about their friends, family, and colleagues. And there's plenty of times where someone has a right to be upset with someone in their family or someone they work with. But if it seems to be a pattern that they have issues with people close to them, you're next. At some point, if they have a pattern of just cutting off people, they'll do it to you, because they're saying that's how I communicate with people I care about or I get close to. Doesn't mean that it's going to happen right away. It doesn't even mean that you did something necessarily wrong. It just says that's the way they deal with things. Good, bad, happy, or wrong. And by the way, for example, let's say someone says, I don't even talk to my mom. Wow. And if you're someone that has a pretty good relationship with your mom, it's just hard to relate. It's just, in your head, you're like, you got to make it work with your mom. You got to be the bigger person. You got to be this. No, you don't know what that person has went through with their mother to get to that point where they don't talk to them. Everyone tends to project, well, why are you doing this? I just can't fathom it. But if they use that playbook with someone really close to them, And maybe it was for good reason. Maybe they had to cut off that individual like their mother for good reason, in the sense that they couldn't fix the issues. But the problem is sometimes they'll revert back to that playbook for multiple people that get close to them. And if it becomes something of a similar issue, they'll just cut you off, or they'll go for the kneecaps, or right. So just be aware of that. All right, we got 3 on deck, 1 like. Thanks, you. I appreciate it. I'm going to get into the story today. I don't have too much time in the live stream. I really did want to talk about a major basketball issue with Draymond Green and Kevin Durant going public with a big story, but maybe I'll do that later. So let's get into this story. We're going to drop this at 5:45. Hey, Coach, I'm writing to you because I just went through a pretty harsh breakup. I met a woman through a YouTube channel I oversee that talks about narcissistic abuse. So right when I read this, first of all, I thought, well, did you want me to, mention your YouTube channel or something like that? No, I don't think that's the case. But if you're making a video, YouTube channel about narcissistic abuse, and you meet a woman to date through that topic, they're probably going to be someone that's fragile, a bit damaged. And I don't even like using that word damaged. And I don't mean it in the negative context it comes out. Starting a relationship should not have wreckage on the road to begin. So if someone's coming to your YouTube channel for narcissistic abuse, or to learn more about that, and they've dealt with it before, that's going to be tough to start a relationship with, right? She was in a 20-year relationship with a malignant narcissist. Full disclosure, I'm not sure I know what that term means, malignant narcissist. And he said it with an S. So I want him to clarify what that means to him. And oftentimes now, when I'm talking to someone, I really want to know, because a lot of people think their definition of words and situations is everyone's, and it's just not true. We used to go to Webster's Dictionary. We used to have kind of more of a, this is what this means. But now with the internet, now with all the content out there, someone can go, oh, I know what that is. And then someone else. So I want to know what your definition of it is and what it means to you. And then we can unpack that, and I can get crystal clear on what you mean by that. We started connecting and got to know each other. Great. My question would be, the fact that this person was with a narcissistic person for 20 years, did you think that would be a problem going into the relationship? Is that something that you thought you'd be familiar with? I'm assuming, and assuming sometimes makes an ass out of you, that if you had a YouTube channel on narcissistic abuse, that you have gone through the same thing. She lives in California. I live in NYC. Okay. She came out to see me first, and the sparks just flew. Well, that's how it should be. And I definitely like the fact that you met online, things went well, and you met up, right? So to me, NYC to California, okay, it's long distance. At some point, if things are rolling and momentum's good, you need to meet up in person. So the fact that you did that right away is a great thing. He said it was a great weekend, so we established a long distance relationship for over a year. We'd go back and forth to see each other, and it was awesome. Again, long distance relationships aren't ideal. There's an expiration date on them usually if someone doesn't go to the other person's city, state, or town to live. But the fact that you were going back and forth to see each other, hopefully once a month, once every 6 weeks, I think is the minimum. That's a positive. And actually, if you can see each other regularly, those interactions, might I add, in a long distance relationship, they should be really good. You should be anticipating seeing each other. You should be happy to see each other. Okay. We even talked about moving in together. Okay. She wanted me, well, that would be the next step, right? She wanted me to move out there because she has kids and doesn't have full custody of them. Well, that's an admirable reason. I ended up moving out there. I lived with her for 3 months. Everything was great. And let me just push this home. There's a big difference in doing a long distance relationship where you see each other once a month or once every 3 weeks or once every 6 weeks to living together. I mean, you're going 0 to 100. And you would assume because everything's been good, you would assume that since everything's been really nice that, you were just going to slide right into a great relationship. It's not always the case. Okay, so this idea that, it would go right, you're in reality, it would have been more ideal if you go long distance and then you move into the same town, which would be expensive, right? Especially in California. I don't know what part of California, but California these days is pretty expensive. At least I know the Bay Area is just outrageous. That being said, you put your heart out on a clothesline and you go for it. There's no certainty in any relationship. So if you guys were doing well for the year, you went for it. I lived with her for 3 months. Everything was great. Dun, 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 dun. She then decided to start going to therapy to talk about her past trauma with her narc ex and narc mom. Okay. My question to you would be, being that you have a YouTube channel about narcissistic abuse, is this something you supported? Is this something that you thought was already over? I mean, it seems like, because a lot of times when you come into a relationship, I talked about this yesterday, whether someone claims or feels that their ex was a narc, their mom was a narc, all these different things, are you qualified or do you feel capable of being in a relationship with someone like that because you know what it's like or you have some experience? So for example, I don't have any experience with a narcissistic ex or a narcissistic mom. So it would be very difficult for me to relate with someone dealing with those issues. It doesn't mean I wouldn't have compassion. It just means I wouldn't know how to handle it. And I would say even on the opposite, my mother, to me, I'm very close to her and she's a saint. So it would be difficult for me. Now, doing what I do and talking to a lot of different people, I'll listen to you and I'll unpack it with you and I'll sift through it with you. But if I was in a relationship with someone like that full time, that's a pretty big uphill battle. After that first session, she went distant on me. I confronted her about it and she said that some things in therapy came up that she had been suppressing and it got in her own head. 3 weeks later, she basically discarded me, saying she's not over what happened in her narcissistic marriage and that she needs time to move on and needs to be single. This is always a threat when you bring up old stuff. And this is why I really like hypnotherapy as an alternative. I'm not saying what she did was wrong or anything like that. And she's saying it was suppressed. But things that were, jarred up and you bring them back out, they have to be dealt with. And it's not like you can just, okay, we're just going to, I'm just going to let go of my feelings today and whatnot. This can happen. So what stinks for you is you know this person for a year, then 3 months you're living together, and then she goes to her first session about this. But since then, she's been watching all my Facebook stories. I moved back to NYC right away as I couldn't even look at her. Okay, so let's unpack that. Why can't you even look at her? If you have a YouTube channel on narcissistic abuse, did you find her reasons for wanting to be single again and not being over what happened in her narcissistic marriage to be unreasonable? I mean, what's your problem is my question. I mean, what was the reason you can't even look at her? She then unfriended me on Facebook. Her reason was that it hurt to see me back in NYC and that she misses me and feels like she messed up. Well, to me, and this is very common, she was triggered by what went on in that therapy session. she probably came home and you were there and she didn't want to, the smoke was still around her. Smoke hadn't cleared. And maybe impulsively, she said she just can't do this. And a lot of breakups with people that are mentally off, or when I say mentally off, maybe that's too broad a statement that could be interpreted wrongly. If someone's dealing with an issue and they come home and they've only lived with you for 3 months, maybe she just needed that time to go through that on her own. I don't know. But I would say this. It was an impulsive breakup where it sounds like everything else in your relationship was pretty good. So these are the kind of things where people regret it. They come to their senses and they realize, wow, this person was really there for me. And this is why your best chance of getting back together with someone is if you've done nothing wrong, you've had a pretty good relationship, you didn't get needy or begging or try to plead your case. You went, I'm out of here. I'm going back to NYC. I'm not going to deal with this. I didn't do anything wrong. And now she's got to sit in it, right? And that's why she thinks she messed up. She kept looking at my Facebook stories. I would post videos of me trying out different foods and going dancing with friends. Nothing malicious, just me sulking in my own sorrows. How would going dancing with friends being sulking in your own sorrows? After a 2-hour conversation where she told me that she does love me, but needs to heal from her past trauma, I got a little weak. I sent her a message that said I missed her. She never replied. You didn't get weak. Okay, listen. You have a 2-hour conversation. First of all, you didn't stick around. You went back to NYC. You didn't beg. You didn't plead. You didn't state your case. You dealt with it. You accepted the breakup. You move on. I don't know. It doesn't say how long this has been. You have a 2-hour conversation. But here's the thing. I love you, but I still need to heal. This is going to be about her for a long time. It's going to be up, down, and all around. Right? This is something that she was with someone 20 years. I haven't experienced that. And I'm not sure exactly what went on in that relationship. But malignant narcissist, which Roller Girl just looked up, says antisocial, aggressive, sadism. I mean, it sounds wicked. Okay? I don't know what went on in that 20-year relationship, but if she's just starting to unpack it, good luck. And this is what I talk about. Are you willing to sit on the sidelines and be available? This person's got some damaged issues, and I feel for her. She's saying in one note, I need to be single. And maybe, correct me if I'm wrong, the relationship was better when it was long distance. Because probably if she had a 20-year relationship with someone, I'm assuming that was marriage or live-in, right? So the minute you move in, you just up the ante on being similar to the ex in some way or some fashion, or just not having enough space, right? Bottom line, though, is you didn't get weak, right? You missed her. You've had a 1 and 3 month relationship. You don't want to play games. You're being upfront. This is the thing. In the initial part of being in a relationship, okay, when there's a dance going on with attraction and stuff, some people kind of play some games, right? They kind of are mysterious. They might not have time. When you get to a point of 1 year, 2 years, and you get to know each other, you have the right to be a little vulnerable. You know, in this moment, you had a 2-hour conversation. You say, you know what? I'm going to put it out there. I miss you, hon. Now, you do that. It's okay. You didn't get the result you wanted. She didn't reply. But now you leave it alone. You put it out there. You're dealing with someone right now that's going to be up, down, and all around, highly impulsive, flighty. And she's going to contact you again. She kept obsessively watching my Facebook stories, and just yesterday she blocked me. Oh. Sorry, I had to turn that off. Sorry. After a throws you off, my phone goes off. Excuse me, I lost my place here. Totally throws me off. No problem, Roller Girl. Let me just answer this really quick. So I got a little weak. I sent her a message that said I missed her. She never replied. That's just clarity, okay? She kept obsessively watching my Facebook stories. My question would be, how do you know it's been obsessively? Is that your words, or how do you know it's obsessively? And how many Facebook stories are going up a day? See, this is how we unpack things. She blocked me. I'm confused and hurt because all I did was protect her when we were together. Okay, I believe you. I believe you. I think that if you had this channel, I keep going back to this YouTube channel because at the core, this is why you attracted someone like this, right? You have a channel about narcissistic abuse. So who's going to come to the channel? So this was already baked in before you even got cooking with her, right? You obviously have a background on this. What if you did everything right, were a great guy, and it still didn't work? She still has insecurities. You see what I'm saying? It's like people that get into these relationships, they can do everything right. And these people are still triggered. They're still wounded. And you do one thing wrong in their eyes. What do I mean by their eyes? In their perception, in their interpretation. You could wear a t-shirt or a certain kind of cologne, and they could be triggered if they were traumatically abused or had so many issues with this person. They're going to be highly sensitive in any relationship that you're going to do something similar. She questioned whether or not I had cheated on her. So that, to me, if that's a question, she doesn't trust you. Trust is something in the beginning of the relationship that you have to give someone the benefit of the doubt. If you start a relationship in the first 3, 4, 5, 6 months and you don't have trust, it's either you or you really have an intuition about this person being untrustworthy, okay? Secondly, that tells me that maybe this past ex, that was an issue with the ex. So people filter and look for things that went wrong in their prior relationships or their parents or whoever raised them. So if she was cheated on, she's going to be looking for that, which I never did. Told me that she misses me, loves me, and that it hurts to see me back in NYC, but then she blocks me. Again, this is impulsive behavior. She's not sure what she wants, right? She's not sure what she wants, so she's going to be impulsive if you were together or not together. What do I mean by that? For a week, you could be good, great, and grand, and then, something comes up, or she goes to therapy and something triggers her, and then she changes her mind and wants to break up, or she wants to block you. See, you've been together a year, but it was long distance. That's a different relationship. That's seeing each other once a month, once every 6 weeks. I don't know what it was. Maybe talking on the phone, but getting a lot of space. Then you live with her for 3 months, and within 3 months, everything was great. Bam. I go in, I'm triggered by a therapy session. And by the way, that's not something you can fix. That's not something that okay, let me read a book and let me figure this out. And this is what's really tough about the internet right now and YouTube and all this information out there is everyone thinks that they have all this information and they can figure it out. Listen, if you want to go and learn how to plant a garden, or you want to go and learn how to build a nice piece of furniture, you can do that on YouTube, like how to, right? If someone says how to mend your narcissistic relationship with a person, or how to amend a relationship with a person that had a 20-year relationship with a malignant narcissist. Now, someone can make a general topic video on that, but here's the crazy part. Every human being's so intricate, it's not that simple. There's all these general advice situations. There's no one size fits all. There's nooks and crannies to who an individual is, and you're gonna do something or say something, and they're gonna go off, and you're gonna go, where did this come from? They're sensitive. You're on a minefield with a person like this. So yeah, she misses you, she loves you. It hurts to see me back. So I mean, she's got, I miss you, I love you, and it hurts to see you back in NYC. Look at this mix of emotions. And then she blocks you, she watches your stories. This relationship's going to be up, down, and all around. And if you have conversations with her, every time you reassure her that you're there, that you still care about her, that you still love her, and if you do, that's fine to say it. Just know what you're getting into. It's not going to be smooth, and she's not going to come out of this anytime soon. If she's already stated that she needs to be single, she's going to come back to that. A lot of people out of a 20-year relationship that was bad, and this one sounds really bad, they don't really want to be in a serious long-term relationship anytime soon. And that's why maybe, the month of long distance was good, because there is distance. She did ask, can I ask you an honest question? Can I ask you an honest question? If I can get my head right, can we start back in the future? I said I'd be open to it, but I wouldn't, because we'd have to take it slow. Well, you're either open to it or you wouldn't. But I wouldn't move, because we'd have to take it slow. Absolutely. She says that she understands, agree. Then she told me that her kids asked for me, and the youngest said she wanted me there. Okay, well, I mean, just that sprinkling some drama. What is that, like a guilt blanket? Okay, the kids like you. You sound like a good person. I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt on that. Most of the people that come to me that I deal with in coaching sessions and whatnot, they like my channel because I'm honest, and a lot of them are good people. I give you the benefit of the doubt. I'm sure the kids like you, but you're in her frame right now. You're in her frame right now. What do I mean by that? If I can get my head right, can we start back in the future? Can we do that for me? Even though I broke up with you, even though I blocked you, I mean, can you leave the door open for me while I deal with my stuff and wait on me? Okay. You say, I'd be open to it. Good, but I wouldn't move because we'd have to take it slow. Okay. But I mean, I'm going to be honest. I would say, let's say she calls you back and she wants to start back up. If I had Vegas odds on this, I'd say you're going to break up again and something similar is going to happen. And I'm sure there's some details to that 20-year relationship that would contribute to her breaking up with you again. And it wouldn't have nothing to do with you being a bad guy, bad boyfriend, bad partner, not understanding. If she did it once and she did it in 3 months and she did it in the fashion she did it in, right? She had a 20-year relationship. I'm assuming she's got to be in her 40s, right? That's just a ballpark figure. People like that, she's just starting the journey where she's, seeing someone about her issues. This is going to take a while, man. This is going to take a while. And in the process, she's going, well, can we start it? Can we do this for me? If you've already moved back to NYC, you're not going to like to hear this. Move on, man. I would say move on. And I would say if you got back into a relationship with this individual, I would say it wouldn't be good to do it anytime soon. 6 months, 8 months, 9 months, a year down the road, if she reaches out, the smoke is cleared, she's seen whoever she's seeing, or therapist or whatnot, she feels really clear about who she is and where she's at in life, maybe that would be better. My other question would be, how long has she been out of the 20-year relationship? That would be a significant question to answer. She says she understands and agrees. She then told me that, but after that, she doesn't even reply when I told her that I miss her, and then completely blocks me after obsessively watching my story. I'm confused and heartbroken. I need help. Is she gone forever? Nothing's forever, my friend. Not even you or I. That's highly dramatic language. A lot of people use it, and I don't mean that to put you down. I mean it. All you need to do is reframe that language. She's open to starting back up in the future, so it's not even forever to her. We don't live forever, right? For now, she's not even gone. She's still in the picture. She's not even gone. She's still in the picture. She has feelings for you. She loves you. She cares about you. She misses you. She's messed up. And I mean that with affection and compassion. I don't mean that like, oh yeah, this is some woman with daddy issues. Oh yeah, she's got issues. That's not how I'm looking at it. You could do everything right in a relationship like this, and you could still stand on a booby trap and have your leg caught in it. Because correct me if I'm wrong, you're thinking, what did I do wrong? I didn't even do anything wrong. And I've had this before, by the way. I moved all the way over from New York to California for her, and she had kids. This story sounds familiar. I've seen it before. And the guy's the one that moves. And the same thing, because she has kids. You sacrificed a lot, man. And it's not easy for a woman to get a good guy that's willing to take on kids. I don't know what role you were willing to play in those kids' lives, but if you were living with them, right? So for her to impulsively throw that away because of one session with the therapist, it's going to happen again. It might not be the therapist next time. It might be Susie Q. Her hairdresser says something that triggers her. She's sensitive to situations that bring up the past. And guess what? I don't know of anything out there that can give her amnesia. So this is going to be an issue for a while. What's up, Clara B? It's been a while, huh? That's going to be tough. So I hope that helped with the confused part, right? So first and foremost, let me just hammer this home, because I think this individual is on the live stream now. If you're confused, let me just be crystal clear on this one. From what you've told me, stand tall with, I don't think you did something wrong here. Okay? I don't think you did something wrong here. I don't know all the details. You just gave me a paragraph. You moving out there from New York to California, sometimes you put your heart on the clothesline, man. This is what love is. This is what relationships are. There's going to be no certainty. So that's the other part that made it more dramatic for you, is you're like, I moved out there for you and your kids, and you pull this crap? It's a discovery mission, man. Right? She's got issues. She was in a 20-year relationship with a narcissist. Even if you have background with that, even if you know about that, even if you feel like, hey, man, I was ready for that. This is what I want to punch home to everyone. Whatever she dealt with was a unique experience to her. So you might be thinking, oh, I know all the right things to say and how to treat this, but you don't, because you weren't there. You weren't involved in that. And this is what's hard. When you start a relationship with someone that's a bit damaged or wounded, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. It's going to be an uphill battle. But my short answer would say, is she gone forever? I would say most likely she's going to be in and out of the picture for a while. But if you got back together, and I've seen this before, you'll probably break up within 6 to 8 months. You'll probably do it. You'll probably break up within 6 months. Okay? That's what you're looking at. This will happen again. And the reason is she's highly indecisive and flighty because she's not even sure what she wants. Because she spent 20 years in a relationship and it scares her to lock into another one. And you're saying, well, I'm not that guy. I'm not the same guy. And you're not. But if you just do one or two things similar, or she's having a bad day and it reminds her of her ex, just the fact that she's in a relationship is a pressure cooker. Okay? So my advice to you, instead of looking at your Facebook stories, instead of worrying about her that she blocked you, I would go full on no contact. I would let go of knowing if she knows your Facebook and begin to heal yourself. And if she contacts you down the road, maybe 6 months, 7 months, 8 months, then maybe revisit it. But the door's still open. You didn't do anything wrong here. You actually don't realize it, but you're the one in the driver's seat. Because this is what you did really well. She broke up with you, and you left. I don't know. You didn't give me a whole lot of details here, but it sounds like you didn't go over the top. You didn't say mean things. You accepted it, and you left. Just that alone. If I could give everyone out there a prerequisite to breaking up, which no one knows when they're going to break up, but a lot of people go, I knew it was coming, but you didn't know the wreckage that was going to be on the road or the emotions that spew out when you break up. If in that moment you can end it with all right, I accept it, with grace, dignity, and stoicism, you're in the driver's seat. Because if you had a good body of work as a boyfriend, girlfriend, partner, what have you, it's hard for them to say, well, I would call them, but what they said to me or what they said about my mom, or they just don't understand me. But if you walked away with your head high, some balls, some dignity, some respect, then the door's always open. I hope that helps you, bud. If you want to book a live coaching session, your $25 that you spent on the story goes towards the $125. So I discount the $25. I've been doing that for a long time. So if you send your story in a public like this, the $25 goes towards your hourly, which a lot of people end up doing. Because sometimes, you go, hey, I want to clarify some things, or there was a couple questions you asked I want to talk about. All right, I did have someone that just sent a story, just okayed a story. Hold on a sec. And I believe they're on. All right, Chris. This story, well, I'm going to drop this story right now. And yeah, we can do this. And for the individual, I'll give details to pay the $25 after, because they just sent the story in through email. Kyle, what's up, buddy? The legend continues. Wow, I come on a little bit earlier today, and it really serves some people out there. Excellent. I actually had an appointment at 10:30 that just got canceled, so we're going to be riding high for a little while. I got some coffee in me. We got some things to talk about, folks. Okay, let me go through the live stream a little bit, and then we'll get to this next story that someone just emailed me and said, hey, you can make this public. Hold on a sec. Okay. All right. Let's. Roller Girl, thanks for the donation. I appreciate it. It's very kind of you. She likes this subject today. Jasper J, we already talked. Petty Betty made it early. I've been with a narc for 8 years and 4 months, but who's counting? So are you joking or are you serious? Are you saying that affectionately? In other words, like they're not so bad? I should have a degree in narcissism for sure now. Nav, what's up? Everything I tested it with, the narcissistic reaction was almost known or the results were accordingly. But wow, it's like climbing a cliff, then being dropped. I know what was happening. I recently dated a narcissistic person, which I never had before. I didn't see it coming when I realized what I was dating, and I put the relationship as a study, being a student. Okay, well that's putting it in a positive frame. Good for you. Narcissistic person are self-absorbed. They don't have empathy nor look for being in a partnership. It's all about them. You know, I don't study this as well as some people do. I know about it. I haven't had a partner that I would qualify as a narcissist. I would definitely say, though, that I've had friends that later on I realized, wow, this is what a narcissist is. Highly selfish. I would say self-absorbed, very capable of using people. But I would say also clever. Clever would be the word, too. And what I mean by that is manipulative. Clever manipulation. Then blames you, saying you are the one with irrational behavior. The classic makes you the bad guy, right? And a lot of people do this. A lot of people that are addicts do this. If you ever dealt with an alcoholic or a drug addict, the drug comes first or the alcohol comes first, and they're always going to find a way to make you look bad or as the bad guy. JC, thanks. Crystal. But unhealthy, if you're not aware, can create a lot of trauma or hurt. It's a toxic to be in a relationship of that kind. It's all one dead end. And I would say one thing you got to do with this narcissistic issue, okay, is once the smoke clears, you realize you were with quote unquote a narcissistic person. One thing I really, and correct me if I'm wrong, Hazel Chavez, I believe it is. Stop blowing the whistle and telling everyone about it. And I'm not talking about the person that wrote this story, because this is a fresh wound. What people tend to do is they talk about it for months and years and tell their friends and family. I'll never forget, someone came on. I called his mom and told his mom he was a narcissist, and his mom agrees. What does that do? You identify it, you deal with it, and then you go, I'm never going to be with someone like that again. And then you got a playbook, right? You got a playbook that when you meet new people and you go, wait a minute, this person's got some narcissistic tendencies, cross them off, just end the relationship now, stop dating them, right? Mac, I'm looking at your background. In what country are you? I live in Phuket, Thailand. Phuket's the province. It's an island. And yes, they are banana trees. And yes, I get bananas from them. I think I've seen banana trees in LA, though, before. I grew up in the Bay Area, and some people had banana trees. I don't know if the bananas grew from them. It would take 16 years to help a narc with therapy. See, this is what I always am going to come back to. There's no one size fits all for any human being. So regardless if we're going to put a label on, it is too good to be true, to Kyle. It's a beautiful place to live. Beautiful place to live. And there's going to be a lot of people moving here in the future, probably because you can work on the internet now. You don't have to be in a place. We're not their psychologists, and you're not to fix your partners, up to them to find themselves. It's easy to say. I think when you're in the middle of something and you love someone, you want to do everything you can. I think with psychological things, narcissism, therapy, and different things like that, there's limitations there. Breakups are tough. I feel you. Great, Crystal. I like it simple, hon. I study psychology so I can differentiate some types of behaviors. I love to read, so it helps me a lot. I wish I had this book in front of me right now. I'll grab it for you in a minute. Hold on 1 second. I'm going to show you guys. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back. Hello? I would say that this book right here is one of the best ones as far as just your basic, the psychology book, like that. And this book, these are really great books to have around your house. Maybe keep them in the toilet. But these two books alone, you can learn a lot. And I think what gets lost is using the internet to go through things. The internet and the way it works now, and if you watch Social Dilemma, they're pushing you into areas that aren't always helpful and aren't written by experts. Those two books I just showed you are great books. And if you're into psychology, I would start with those. All right, so we do have another story. It's funny, Kyle, are you on still? I really want to talk about the situation with what happened with Draymond Green and Kevin Durant interview. Oh my goodness. I should just do a whole show on that. All right, so I have this other story that just came in. This person's listening. And they said, drop it now, Mac. All right. So, hey, coach, I really like your videos. They've helped me a lot lately. I have a question for you. I'm still stuck on an ex that I broke up with a year ago. Okay. So my question would be, if we were in a live coaching session, why do you feel stuck? Is there some other things? Is there some other things that have you stuck? So a lot of times, the reason that you're stuck on a breakup, if it's been a year, is other parts of your life aren't going very well, or the way it ended, it was a cliffhanger where there's an open loop that you just don't understand. I can help with that because a lot of times people aren't seeing it objectively, and that's why you're stuck. But the other reason sometimes is, and I'm not saying this about you necessarily, is there some other areas of your life that you have trouble in? And so you're a bit overwhelmed. But let's get deeper into the story. We were moving in together, and I thought I would ask her to marry me. Why would it be a thought? I felt it was right, would be better. A bunch of bad stuff happened in the last year we were together, and when we were moving in together, she turned into a total asshole, and I ended up breaking up with her. Okay, again, if we were doing a live coaching session, I would just go, hey, what were the things? Because we need to unpack what's the bad stuff. Do you feel like, maybe you want to take notes on this because I know you're listening right now. Do you feel like you were right a year later, even though you're stuck? That, in other words, the bad stuff that happened validated you breaking up with her? Because I'm assuming that you're stuck because you're second guessing, was I right? And it's kind of funny because For some reason, guys don't really call women assholes. It's usually a guy term, right? We usually use the B word. After I broke up with her, I regretted the decision a month later, and I asked her to come back together, and she said no. She wanted to break it off for good with me. Again, I would really want to know what were your, and if you want to email me right now, you can, because I think you're listening. Can you get more specific on what your reasons were? And why did you regret your decision? If she was an asshole, and a lot of bad stuff happened, were you an asshole? I mean, this sounds like an extremely simple question. Why did you want to get back with her? What were the main problems? So just as an example, some big ones in relationships are alcoholism, cheating, in-laws. What was the big problem, and was that fixable? We had a very turbulent and dramatic relationship for 3 years. Okay, so why do you want it back? That doesn't sound good. That's not a good description of a 3-year relationship. That's not how 3-year relationships are supposed to go that last longer than 3 years. And who created the drama and turbulence? And then the other question I'd probably get into with you would be, did you have similar problems in past relationships? It was the worst relationship I've ever had, but she was also extremely loving, and we had the best chemistry of anyone I've ever been with. Okay, so a quick question would be, on a scale of 1 to 10, what's your trust? On a scale of 1 to 10, what's your connection? And on a scale of 1 to 10, what was your attraction? I'm going to take a wild guess and say that your attraction was very high to this woman. And I would bet that your trust is lacking. But you tell me. I've never felt loved by someone more than her, and I've been married before. I would say with her, I had the highest highs and the lowest lows. Yeah, I would want some examples of that. She helped me when my mom went into nursing home during COVID. So when you experience something like that, when someone's there for you in a really tough time, that will create a deeper bond. After we broke up, I let her know that my mom died, and she offered no support or sympathy. Well, that says something about someone's character. And I mean, did she even say, I'm sorry to hear that? Or were you expecting more? This was only a few months after we broke up. After she was visiting my mom at the nursing home for many months, she blocked me on social media. We won't respond to me over email after I was emailing her 8 months ago. She wants nothing to do with me. Okay, correct me if I'm wrong. You broke up with her. And you broke up with her because she was being a total asshole. I'm assuming you told her that she was being a total asshole. And so when you break up that way, if someone accepts that, or if someone turns that into negativity, and then you want them back, they actually, when you reject someone like that, and then you call them a name at the end, when you try to get back with them, they actually really enjoy that. It really validates the situation for them. I'm just very torn about this relationship. I'm seeing someone new who is great. Good for you. I'm having a great relationship. Good for you. I didn't hear you say turbulent or dramatic. Good for you. But I keep thinking about my ex, and I want to contact her. So when you're thinking about her, what are you thinking about? Are you thinking about walks in the park, or are you thinking about Friday night bottle of wine and intimacy? Be honest. What is it you really miss? A lot of people don't realize what they want back. And whether they admit it or not, a lot of times if we're in a live coaching session, guys will admit it. A lot of times it's intimacy. It is. Oh, it's not. That's not what I'm about. I keep looking at her social media. I just want to tell her that I'm sorry for the things I did wrong. Okay, you started this out with bad things happened, and she turned into a jerk when you moved in together. So she did the wrong things, or you did the wrong things. The fact that you still love her is fine. You can love someone that's your ex and not be with them. You can do that. You can do that. You're allowed to do that. The fact that maybe you broke up with her in a bad form and you feel like there's a bad taste in your mouth and you kind of want to just let her know, hey, I still care about you, fine. But are you telling her Here's where you gotta be really honest with yourself. Okay? Why do you want to tell her you love her? What's your intention? Just to tell her? It's kind of like when people come to me and they go, hey, it's going to be my ex's birthday. I want to send them a birthday card. Do you think it's okay? What's your intention? Okay. If someone sent me a birthday card, if Petty Betty or Rob or Kyle's like, wow, Mac, when's your birthday? I just want to keep you in mind. You would send the birthday card. Correct me if I'm wrong, Petty Betty, Kyle, or Rob. You'd just send me the card, or you'd send me the email and just be like, happy birthday. You wouldn't have any kind of attachment to it. You wouldn't be like, oh, let me check my email. If Mac checked, like if Mac saw my happy birthday, it wouldn't even be in your head. It would just be happy birthday. But the reality is, when it's your ex, it's not just happy birthday. It's a bridge to maybe we can get back together. And if we get back together, we can get back to that intimacy. If we get back together, maybe we can get back to that point where you made me feel so good. Right? Why do you really want to tell her sorry? Why do you really want to tell her sorry? Are you sorry, or do you want to use that as a bridge to get back together? What's your intentions on getting back? And then here's the golden question. And if you've done a coaching session with me before and you're on the live stream, you know this question. What would be the ideal outcome? So you say to me, hey, Mac, I contact her. I say sorry for the things I did wrong, and I tell her I still love her. And she says, oh my God, I miss you so much. Let's go out for pizza. Let's go watch a movie. Let's do this. Everything goes right, and you go out. Then what? Does she release the jerk, the inner jerk in her, or the things that went wrong, or the turbulence and drama that you had in your relationship? Is that all gone? There's a reason you broke up with this person. There's a reason you called them an a-hole. There's a reason. And now when you're missing them and you have nostalgia and you have empathy, and correct me if I'm wrong, you're in this new relationship, and I'm going to ask you, I wish I could ask you directly. You're saying this new relationship's great. You're saying, is the new person as attractive? Because we all compare. Someone can go, oh, you shouldn't compare your ex to your new partner. Everyone does it. It's human nature. We do it with food. Think about that, right? Modern shrink goes out and gets tacos, right? That's my favorite food. You go out and get tacos. There's a lot of places to get tacos in California, modern shrink. Correct me if I'm wrong, right? Sometimes the best place is a taco truck, right? $1.50 for 3. But if you go somewhere else and your friend takes you somewhere and they go, oh, I got this great place to get tacos. Guess what happens? If those tacos don't add up to that taco truck, then you compare them. And so that's what you do now. The problem is there's always a trade-off when you get a new partner or you start dating someone new. You should be, and I'll replace the word with, you want to be in a position where you're dating someone new that outshines the other person in areas that really bothered you. So simply put, if your ex used to smoke cigarettes and that bothered you, the next person you're like, I'm not going to date someone that smokes cigarettes again. It really bothered me that my ex had a really bad relationship with their father. I'm not going to do that again. Right? And this is where when you date, I talked about this yesterday, when you date out of opportunity compared to what you're looking for, it's different. I know I need to move on. It's been over a year. I have a great new relationship and I need to let her move on as well. So needs a strong word, and needs not something that usually the subconscious likes to deal with. It's kind of like force feeding yourself. I need to let her move on as well and find somebody better for her. I need to let her move on as well and find somebody better for her. I'm just still stuck on her, and I still do feel a lot for her. Something like this never happened to me before. Usually I move on after breakups no longer than 6 months. If you have any advice, I would really appreciate it. Yeah, there's some... I would really need to unpack with you what went down specifically in the relationship. And the fact that you're saying that you've had multiple breakups prior to this and they've never been like this, we'd have to get into the details a little bit more. Okay, so the individual, let me just double check because the individual just sent me an email with more details. This kind of creates an open loop for the live stream, right? It's like, oh yeah, add some details, Mac. This is almost like a mini series here. So is it okay if I share this? So they just gave me some of the oh wow, this is really bad. Oh man. So I just got the more details and he just sent them over to me. So he just approved me telling you the details. Yeah, the person's listening to the live stream right now, so I don't think they want to be identified on the live stream. That's fine. I respect that. The dojo, unless you live in Tijuana, Hazel. Are you in Tijuana? I've been in Tijuana a few times. I don't know if I'd go back after the last time. That was a hell of a story. I'll save that for another show. So anyways, getting back to the details. He says she used, I'll just say hard drugs. She overly flirted with a lot of guys. You had me there. Done. She called me names out of the blue. Her friends were druggies and trashy. She'd try to humiliate me in front of her friends. I mean, she'd get extremely angry and break my things. She would ditch me to go hang out with her friends when I was moving in. Okay, so, you know, calling her an asshole is kind of an understatement, but I would say these, you know, sometimes people go, oh, she did this, he did this, she did this, he did this. At what point do you stop being a victim? I mean, my question would be too, is like, do you think this is just bad luck? Sometimes people go, oh, wow, this person just has bad luck with women. This person just has bad luck with men. No, you filter for this stuff. You accept it, right? I mean, these things that you're accepting in the relationship, good for you for breaking up. Now, this idea that a year later you feel bad and you miss this person, it gets clear at the end of this email. So he writes, I'm sorry for texting other women. I'm sorry for breaking up with her when I was moving in with her. I'm sorry I called her names. Okay, so hers outweighs yours. But here's the clarity moment. Here's the clarity moment. Are you guys ready? And this is, let me just tell you, because if you're online listening, I don't look down on you for it, but this is your goddamn clarity. I most likely want the intimacy back. Done. That's your clarity. All this other crap, oh, I still love her. Okay, I believe you. I believe you, right? Guess what Petty Betty just said? She must be super hot. Is that true or not true? Listen, I've been doing breakup coaching for a while. I've talked to men and women, and these kind of stories, the guys always go, yeah, she's really hot, or the intimacy was really good. That's the only reason they deal with shit like this. I'm just saying, it's kind of like, it's kind of like you hear about guys that work 90 hours a week, right? 90 hours a week or something like that. What do they do it for? Most of the time, oh, I just love this job. For the money. Oh, well, also to, for the money. Why would you put up with this kind of behavior from a girlfriend if there wasn't some kind of sweets at the end? If there wasn't a cherry on top of the sundae? And I'm here to tell you, because I know you're listening right now, that's at the core of this. Tell me if I'm wrong. You could put it in the email, and if you don't want to share it. Her intimacy is better than the woman you're seeing right now that's a great relationship, quote unquote. Tell me if I'm wrong. Her intimacy is something that you miss quite a bit, and you were highly attracted to her. Out of 1 through 10, she's a 10. And she might have been one of the more sexy women you went out with. I guarantee that's a big part of this. And I don't judge you for it, because I've seen it before. Just be crystal clear. That's what's going on. And how good she made me feel. And so what I would specifically say to you is, because he also wrote, and how good she made me feel. If someone's making you feel bad, and they're, let me just read these off. I found out she does hard drugs. She overly flirted with a lot of guys. She called me names out of the blue. Her friends were druggies and trashy. She'd humiliate me in front of her friends. That's a big one. That's a big one, dude. To me, that one alone, first of all, you have power over what humiliates you and what doesn't. But if there's an attempt on that in a public scene, no bueno. Bye-bye. We're not even negotiating that. And we're not even going to get to that point. I can't even imagine that. She'd get extremely angry and break my things. She would ditch me and go hang out. And here's the thing. Read these things. Read these things that you wrote. Man, sounds like you deserve some credit for, having the gusto, dignity, and balls to break up with her. And now you're going, man, I really loved her. I really cared about her. Translation. Oh, man, that intimacy was outstanding. Is what it is. Is what it is, right? That's a big one as human beings, though, as being social creatures. And I don't care who you are. We care what people think. I care what people think. I care what people think that I care about. People always, I don't care what people think. People care, right? You got to filter that out. And as you get older, you care less. Have you ever been around, great grandparents or grandparents? Once grandparents get to their 70s, they don't give a fuck. They just don't give a fuck. My father's in his early 70s. He could give a fuck about anything that someone says about him. Someone says, okay, I don't care. I'm in my 70s, right? You don't meet insecure old people, right? It's like, this guy's in his 70s. He's really insecure. It just doesn't happen, right? She'd try to humiliate me in front of her friends. Excuse me? I have a really good story. A friend of mine who's highly secure individual. I love about having him on the live stream. He's from Wales, actually. Ex-rugby player. Tough dude, right? Really good friend of mine. One of my best friends, actually. Really good friend of mine. And I'll never forget, very good with women. Women like him quite a bit. He actually looks a lot like, and I'm not joking, God, what's that show on Netflix with the gangsters? It's going to bother me for a moment. It's based in England in the 1900s, 1920s. Anyways, so this buddy of mine, he goes out with this girl. He actually lives in Phuket also. He goes out with this woman. And Arthur Shelby, yes. What's that show called, Kyle? My friend looks just like that. He gets it all the time. So he does well with women. This woman asks him out. They met at a party or something like that, and she invites him out to lunch. So he meets her for lunch, and she's got like Peaky Blinders. There you go. She invites him out to lunch, and she's got like 6 friends with her. And he's like, what's this kind of a thing, right? And she's high society. She's got money. She's got 2 twin little poodle dogs, something like that, right? My buddy's not amused. So he sits down, he has dinner, has lunch, highly secure individual, right? I've never seen him, insecure, and he's telling me this story. So he sits down, he has lunch, whatever, he socializes with them all. So the bill comes and she passes it over to him. I think they've hung out a couple times, maybe hooked up once, and he you know what he did? He goes, excuse me, can I have a word with you outside? Can I have a word with you? And she says, yeah, sure. And he goes, I came to this lunch to meet you. And you've got your friends here with you? And then you attempt to give me the bill? You attempt to have me pay for your lunch for everyone? And she's like, yeah, that's what, that she like has some explanation. He goes, here's the money for my lunch. Be well, love. And he just left. Right? What do you think happened? Good looking woman too. Has money, usually gets her way with guys. What do you think happened when he walked away like that? And he just paid for his, he goes, here's what my money cost, my food cost. What do you think happened? She called him off the hook for the next 2 weeks. Not just apologizing, but wanting him. And you know what? My buddy, done. You know why? You try to humiliate me in front of your friends? You're gonna have your friends order an expensive lunch on me? It didn't even negotiate it. It wasn't even negotiable. It wasn't even like, hey, why'd you do this to me? Hey, I can't believe you. What's this deal? Pulls her outside out of the lunch because he wasn't gonna go to her level and humiliate her and make a scene. And then the cherry on top. And I know him because he's good with his money. I know he paid her probably to the dime of what his food cost. And you'd think, oh my God, she probably won't go out with him again. Calling him off the hook. He said she was texting him like, unbelievable. Kyle says, hard to maintain that if it's not your actual persona. Yeah, Kyle, I'll go with that. Maybe you're not going to do it in that manner that I just told you. Maybe you're not Arthur Shelby or an ex-rugby player or something like that. Right? Maybe it's not in that manner. Maybe I wouldn't do it in that manner. Maybe I'm the type, I don't know. Maybe I'm the type that I would say, I definitely wouldn't pay for all the friends. That wouldn't happen. Right? I definitely wouldn't go out with her again. No. I don't know if I would have pulled her out to the out of the restaurant and said what he said. But I definitely wouldn't accept it. Hell no. There's a client I have right now. You love Mex 33. How you doing, hun? I hope you're well. We were just talking about tacos today too. I have another client actually that is a recovering nice guy. And like I said, for people that are the nice guys, I don't want you to become Jocko Willink or a Navy SEAL because that's just probably not in your cards. Don't try to overcompensate who you are. You just need to make some minor changes. Right? Kyle says I'd be paying for everyone like a true pushover. Well, here's the thing. Nice guy, man. Really nice guy, and you might hook up with her, but guess what? It's not attractive. And here's the thing about that, Kyle. That woman doesn't even know subconsciously that by controlling the guy like that, or using him in that way, or flaunting him in that way, that she's actually losing respect for him. She doesn't even know that she's kind of shit testing him in that moment, because she's probably had other guys pay for. She's running a playbook. Oh, this is what guys do for me. This is how I show my friends my power, right? So getting back to this client of mine. He's been in a long distance situation for a while, and he just stood up for himself. He's just like, you know what? She's been up and down and all around. I'm going to move back. I'm not going to move back. You know what? This, that, and the other. And he went, you know what? Just save it. I'm done. What? I mean, I'm listening to it in the coaching session, and I'm just like, fuck yeah. Like it's like cheering on someone at the finish line. And you're like, oh my goodness. All the, we've talked for 2 years, me as a coach, him as a client, and just, about different things. And it's like he came to this moment, and I'm so fucking proud of him, because he just put his foot down and he went, yeah, that's enough. And it wasn't because I said, hey, break up with her. The whole time I was like, you can keep this long distance going. See what happens. At some point, you're going to get sick of it. And he did. He put his foot down. He puts his foot down. He goes, she keeps saying, I'm going to move back. I'm not going to move back. Hey, I've actually decided I'm not going to move back in 2 months. I'm going to stay for another 8 months and then see what happens. He said, all right, just, I'm done. Huh? What? So for 20 minutes, she's like, really? That's how you feel now? I'm into all this stuff, right? And he stayed on the phone. He didn't just do a clean breakaway. He had to be the nice guy a little bit. Guess what happened? Like within a week. Hey, I just want to call you up. Hey, I'm thinking that maybe I'll move back sooner. And when I get back, we can definitely get a drink and talk about this. Guess what he did? No, I don't think so. Blew her away. He had this sneaky grin on his face too when he told me. And he's like, I'm kind of uncomfortable with it, but I said no. She started crying. And then you know what she told him? I'm proud of you. She told him that. Week later goes by, calls him back. Hey, I've been thinking like I am going to come back in town. I really do want to make sure we get a drink together. No, I don't think that's going to be available. I don't think that's on my list. Starts crying again. Called him back 3 weeks later. Same thing. Different approach, a little bit different approach. You know what she told him after he denied her again? She goes, God, you're so sexy right now. I'm not making this up. I'm not making this up. Right? Just getting back to the story I just talked about, he just emailed in some further details. Never dated a trashy person like this before. All my exes are very high quality people. She was very hot. Okay, here it is. Here it is. I've helped you today, my friend. I've helped you. This is why you can't get over her. She was very hot. Best intimacy I've ever had. Done. 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 It's okay. Your subconscious has been painting these stories of affection and Hallmark cards, and we just got to the bottom of it. And that's okay. Right? I'm not saying like, oh man, hey man, get it in check. Wow, that's all you're about? I'm not saying that. This is very human. You got your clarity right now. Why can't I let her go? Oh my God, like the Drake song goes, the best I ever had. We had a very strong attachment from taking care of my mom who died. I believe you. I'm not going to discount that. That counts. That counts. But teaming that up with she was very hot and it was the best intimacy I've ever had, that wins the day, dude. She offered no support when I told her my mom died. Well, I'm not surprised by the characteristics you told me about her. Right? People that have major drug issues are highly impulsive and they're up and down. And so that's why you said you had very highs and very lows. I had a client, I think it was 3 years ago in Austria. Great guy. Told me a story about, he dated a stripper for 2 years. I was shocked. This guy was how should I say it? Very intelligent. Seemed like he did really well with women. Like, dated, like, your girlfriend was a stripper and a drug addict, and she was a drug addict. And I was like, he was like, yeah, it was a fucking mess. Da, 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 da. He's going on, and I'm like, and this was his prior relationship years earlier. I'm like, why did you stay in that? Oh man, best intimacy I've ever had in the world. There you go. Right? You know? Why do we drink a lot of alcohol? Why do we eat cake? Why do we do all these things that actually aren't that good for us? Because it feels good. What's the ultimate feeling? Probably good intimacy. I don't know. That's the best intimacy that you've ever had. And here's the thing that's crazy about intimacy, and I just like using the word intimacy because that just gives you an umbrella rather than just going sex, right? There's a variety of things that individuals can do well involving intimacy that you've never had before, and you're like, oh my God, wow. Above and beyond. And it's impressive. So I would say to the person that wrote the story, we had a very strong attachment from taking care of my mom who died. She offered no support when I told her my mom died. So that just erased that. But I dumped her. New girlfriend is sweet and mellow and high quality, calm and no drama. You can share this. Bottom line is sweet, mellow, high quality, calm and no drama. I didn't hear hot, and I didn't hear anything about the intimacy being nearly as good. There you go. There you go. That's what's lacking in the new girlfriend. And you're like, wow, if I could implement that into the old one, it's not going to happen. It's a trade-off, right? It's a trade-off. We all have trade-offs. We have trade-offs. That's what it is. And if you watched my live stream yesterday where I went into what I've learned as a breakup coach, everyone wants more now. It's because of the internet. It's because of social media. You're in relationships. You want more. You want your way. And people aren't willing to give in. Modern Shrink said yesterday she doesn't like the term give in. I think it was misinterpreted. What I mean by that is people aren't willing to say, all right, I'll give in on this or I'll give in on that. They want things their way. And this is why there's just going to be more and more and more breakups. And by the way, the other reason there's going to be more and more breakups is mental health. Done. This is just going to be an ongoing thing as long as social media has its stranglehold on people. I mean, the mental health issues with people, and it goes, let me take it a step further. The amount of people, like I said, go to a cafe, go anywhere in the world, and just take a scan of how many people are on their phones. I was shocked yesterday in a cafe. A lady came in with her daughter. She sat, I don't know, about 20 feet from me, and she was playing some kind of like kids card game and interacting with her kid, actually talking to her kid, and they weren't playing on their phones or tablets. Only group in the restaurant besides a group of 80-year-olds that have a conversation in the corner of this restaurant I go to for breakfast. Everyone is dialed into content, stimulation, content, notifications, content, stimulation, content. And so relationships are, it's boring. You know what I mean? So it's going to be second guessed all the time, all around. No problem. Someone just said thanks for breaking down the story. We got to the bottom of that last one, though. There's no shame in that game. There's no shame. Women stay with guys for good intimacy. Women actually will break up with a guy. Will break up with a guy because maybe he's a loser, low ambition. I don't know. Just getting in trouble, whatever. But if it was good intimacy, she'll continue to see him on the side. Wow, Modern Shink. Wow, you're really showing your colors here. As someone who has an emphasis in sex therapy, the sex with his new partner can improve if he communicates what he wants with them. His ex personally really can't, depending on age. Is it that simple though, Modern Shrink? This is a good question, hun. Is it that simple? Is it that simple? I don't know. That'd be a really good topic to talk about, though. Emphasis in sex therapy. So you're actually telling people, yeah, because first of all, correct me if I'm wrong, in your head, you're like, just do it like my ex did, which you can't say. This is what my ex did. Can you do it? What? And even if they try, you're like, nah, it's not the same. This is an issue that's not talked about a lot, Martin Shrink, though. It is. I've had there was a client of mine, he comes on the live stream sometime, great guy. And this was something like he was really open about a lot of things. And he had trouble divulging it, but we talked about it. And he was dating a woman. They were really good together. And this dude was tip top, man. Great guy. Good person. And a really good place in his life. Had a good job going. Has a good career going, I should say. Really knows who he is. And the girl, I should say woman, excuse me, had a couple kids. I believe she was in her mid to late 20s. He was early 30s. And she told him the intimacy is just not as good as with my ex, which is her baby's dad. And of course, the guy that came to me was like, the guy's a total asshole. This and that. But she told him that. She told him directly, like, we just don't have the same intimacy. That's hard. I've never had that told me. That's hard for a guy to swallow. Right? I mean, that's... And I said, look, if she's telling you that, I suppose if I knew now, I would say, well, I know this shrink that does sex therapy. Because he was in California also. You know what I thought, Martin Shrink, is why people, with all the self-help out there and all the relationship books, is there a go-to playbook for being better at being a better, dare I say, lover? Is there, Modern Shrink? Now you're really going to perk up some ears and eyes on the live stream. There's no book. Should we write it together, Modern Shrink? Have you really? Roller Girl, roll them out. What's up, Johnny? Wow, I'm glad I started early today. It's been a while, huh? Let me have you seen that? I think it was a Showtime show called Masters and something. They're supposed to be what was it called? Yeah, William Masters, a sexologist, and he made his assistant. They would regularly have sex together and then test things. It was there's a book that helped me in schooling called The Guide to Getting It On. It helped you personally or helped you with clients? Maybe that's too personal. Yeah, William Masters. Both. Everyone's different. Everyone's different on that one, man. I do remember, if anyone knows who Tim Ferriss is, that wrote the 4 Hour Body. He wrote the 4 Hour Work Week also, but the 4 Hour Body has one chapter on a sex tip. And I thought that was pretty clever, right? It's a book about, your body, and he throws in on the cover, and look at this sex tip. I remember that show Masters of Sex. It was a while ago, right? Like early 20. I don't know when, but yeah. But it was funny because in the show, he's a doctor. He's kind of a square. He's got the, 1940s, 1950s lifestyle. And in the show, I thought his secretary, or whatever you'd call her at the time, was attractive. And he ended up making it the work that they would sleep together and then take notes. There we go. Let me check if I missed something. Like in the mood, he can tell her in a sexy way instead of suggesting to her. Testing my knowledge with my partner is just a bonus. Well, some people would flip that and say the other way around. It working with my clients would just be a bonus. Probably if they made a new book for that, they'd probably have to incorporate all these people that are in relationships online. Because this is becoming such a big thing now. Whether you call it cyber sex or what. The guide to getting it on. Dojo says, wasn't hard for her to swallow. I lined that one up for you. I wouldn't mind. I want him to tell his partner he compares his sex to his ex. I wouldn't want him to tell his partner he compares his sex to his ex. People have to be willing to take polite suggestions in bed. Oh, goodness. All right, we got 9 on deck, 9 likes. Thank you. Phone banging. Johnny said I liked your book review on 3%, man. I've done it more than once, but yeah, I put on the suit. Yeah, I was joking around a little bit there. I was thinking when I get this thing rolling regularly for the live stream, maybe we'll have Corey Wayne Wednesdays and I'll wear the suit. Yeah, that book review I didn't even do it on the whole book. I just did maybe the first part. So one random thing I was going to talk about today too. Does anyone have any questions? We got the usual suspects on today, it looks like. Minus Kaiser Soze. If anyone has any questions or some of the people that were on earlier that dropped their story, let me know. If you want to book a live coaching session, go to writemac.com, or if you want to send your story in, same thing. But since I had an appointment canceled, if I read the book, will I get anything out of it? What book? The book she suggested? Yes, I have it. And I have The Way of the Superior Man. Did you see my email, Mac? No rush, just wondered. Yeah, I thought I responded, actually. When was that from? Oh, yeah. That was just today. I'm sorry. Yeah, I saw it. I'll respond. Yeah, I'll respond on the next day. Wow, what a story, Kyle. Sess, what's up, hun? Hi, coach. Just got home from work. Thankful I'm able to catch the live chat. Yeah, we just had 2 stories that we unpacked. Thoughts on no contact over 6 months and feeling these roller coaster of emotions. Hate to be repetitive, but I would need to know your story first to really give you good advice. Are you dating, Crystal? I mean, are you seeing new guys? what are you hung up on? Like basically with the individual or the guy earlier that we just unpacked his story, and I got to the bottom of why he really misses her, he's stuck on her a year later, is because the intimacy was fantastic and he was highly attracted to her. See, there's the idea that you're with someone that was so messed up to you. There's a trade-off, right? So if you're in no contact 6 months feeling these roller coaster of emotions, probably start where, when you get these roller coaster emotions, what's triggering them? So is it what do you keep coming back to, right? And right now, that guy that we just had his story, his subconscious was masking it in that he loves her and maybe he did the wrong things. But the reality was, when we kind of get to the bottom of it, she's really hot and I really miss having intimacy with her. And my subconscious doesn't want to say that, because that would be out of character for me. It's better for me to kind of paint myself as, I don't know, the bad guy, and maybe I did something wrong. And the reality is, no, she wasn't a good girlfriend. She was actually really bad, and you broke up with her for a good reason. But now that a year later, you've never met someone that actually is that good in the bedroom, if I should say, right? Sess, how have you been? You okay? Oh, Johnny? I have Way of the Superior Man too, yeah. I got to get my book up. I got to get it going. I stopped at chapter 2. I got so many thoughts in my head. It's coming though. A new book's needed out there, folks, because a lot of the stuff doesn't apply to the 21st century. A lot of stuff's changed the last 10 years in relationships. It really has. It really, really has. For a lot of people, things are going to change in relationships in the future. It's going to be really different. No dating. Oh, I know. I got it in my head. It's just a matter of putting in the time. See, it's one of those things. Here's my excuse. I live on a tropical island about 5 minutes from a tropical beach. It's absolutely gorgeous. I got jungle and mountains all around me that I go hiking in. In my free time, I got really cool stuff to do. So sometimes I don't go, yeah, let me just put in 2-3 hours of writing, and that's my excuse. It's like, go to the beach, go hiking, it's too great a place. No, and that's my excuse. Just improving on myself and healing. The trigger left with a cliffhanger, grass is greener syndrome. Lots of I don't knows, young love for 10 years. The trigger left with a cliffhanger, grass is greener syndrome. He left with that, or you left with that, would be my question. Well, write out your story and send it in. Or book a live coaching session. I'll help you unpack it. I think we have about 5 or 6 people on here that have done live coaching sessions with me. I stand on that. So if you want to send it in and send your story, and I'll help you, Crystal. I'm not claiming to absolutely cure you, but I'll help you with some clarity. As you can see with the 2 individual story that I just unpacked earlier, right? I don't knows now, do knows in the future. Breakup sucks. I'm sorry you're going through it, but you'll be all right soon. Just got back from Mexico, been on much needed vacation, so much to catch you up on, coach. We'll book a private session soon. Right on, Sess. Oh, Mexico was good. I love my Mexican food. He left with the grass is greener. 10 years, that's a long. If someone leaves you and you can tell that they think the grass is greener, yeah, that can hurt. That can hurt. It can hurt. The question is, do you agree? You got to get to a point where you get up off the mat and you go, fuck this. Right? And it sounds like you're not there yet. And if the grass was greener for that person, did you agree with them? Did you feel like you were enough for them? That's a big one. I want to talk about something. Kyle will like this. And this is a little bit Live sessions are absolutely worth it. Thanks, SP. We had some good sessions. It's really good to talk to you. So something came out in the news today, and as people know that follow me, I'm a huge basketball fan. I'm a huge Warriors fan, and forgive me if I'm getting too much off topic, but I'll roll this around to some self-improvement stuff. Basically, about 2 years ago, the Warriors basketball team had the best team in the league, had the best players in the league. I won't go into how that happened or what. Kevin Durant is basically like Michael Jordan. The rest of the team's really good, on and on and on. So, on the court, in a live game, let's just say there's 6-7 seconds left in the game. Draymond Green, who's probably the fourth best player on the team, but is highly vociferous, over the top, highly animated person, right? Very energetic person. Never thinks he's wrong. He dribbles the ball up the floor. He doesn't pass the ball to Kevin Durant, who's the best player on the team, and he loses the ball out of bounds, and the game goes into overtime. Kevin Durant comes over to Draymond Green and says, "Hey, man, pass me the ball," kind of thing. "Hey, I was open. Like, what are you doing? Like, I'm the best player on the team." I don't think he said that, but basically, like, "Why didn't you pass me the ball?" Draymond Green erupts. You can look this up on YouTube. He erupts. He jumps off his, sitting down, and he goes into a public. I've never seen this in basketball for their own teammate. Basically, F you, you're a bitch. And you can read his mouth. He keeps yelling, "You're a bitch. You're a bitch." And it's not like he's going to fight him. He just wants to get in his face. And Kevin Durant, you see him and he's looking at him like, what the hell? This is on TV, right? And Draymond Green is just one of those people. I'm going somewhere with this, so stay with me, folks. Is just one of those people doesn't have control of his emotions, right? Doesn't have any control of his emotions, doesn't have emotional intelligence. It's me. And it actually serves him for basketball because he plays really hard and he's a great player. He plays, he's never wrong, right? Kevin Durant looks at him just like, what the hell? This guy's being held back. Then he yells like, "We don't need you on this team. We didn't need you. We won without you." He just goes on and on and on. This is on national TV. Talk about like humiliation. It was just way too far. Way too far. Then after the game, he continued in the locker room from what I've read and refused to apologize. Now, the Warriors suspended him and said he went too far for one game. He had a fit, said he didn't deserve to be suspended, made this big deal out of it. This is on national television, right? This guy gets paid over $20 million a year. They had a right to suspend him. It was way too far. And it was way too disrespectful to his teammate. The original story was he wouldn't apologize to his teammate. So at the end of the year, Kevin Durant's a free agent. Guess what Kevin Durant does? He leaves the team. Surprise, surprise. Okay, fine. Whatever. 2 years later, today, 2 years and some change, not 2 years exactly, Draymond Green has some kind of interview, podcast or TV show through a website, and he gets Kevin Durant on, right? And basically, him and Kevin Durant blame the team for handling it wrong. Completely fucking ridiculous. It's the most ridiculous, self-absorbed, non-responsible, unaccountable shit that you can do. You obviously can tell that. This really bugs me. I'm a fan of the team. They go on and they go, yeah, the reason, Kevin Durant's like, yeah, the reason I left is because the team didn't handle it correctly. Excuse me? So, this guy calls you a bitch on live television, is held back, continues to say, we didn't need you on the team. The team suspends him because it was just over the top. Over the top. Over the top. And 2 years later, and mind you, Draymond Green has a new contract that makes $25 million a year for this team. Goes on a public TV show that's his show and has Kevin Durant go, yeah, I didn't leave because of what you said. I left because of the way the team handled it. Completely ridiculous, unaccountable, unresponsible. I'm so disappointed because this is the problem. And this is why power corrupts sometimes. This is an individual that makes $25 million a year. His coach probably makes $5 million. What other industry do you know where your boss makes that much less money than you? And you can go out and publicly shame them. Because he's saying like, oh, the coach messed up, the general manager messed up. Like, it's not that I made a fool out of the teammate or the franchise on national TV. And I mean, he basically looked like a teenager out there. It was embarrassing to watch. And the thing that he doesn't realize, hey, the NBA's been around for, I don't know, 30, 40 years, whatever. I've never even seen this before on national. Like, it's one thing you get in a fight with a referee or you get in a fight with someone on the other team, your own teammate, and you're calling him a bitch and everyone can read it on the TV. And you think, oh, the team really messed up on the way they handled things. Excuse me? Unbelievable. And that, my friends, is a narcissist. Signed, sealed, and delivered. And guess what? One of the better basketball players in the league. Plays his ass off. Plays hard. He's never wrong. Always argues with the ref. But this little thing that he just pulled, lost a lot of respect for the man. 2 years later, the smoke is already cleared. Everything's done. Everything's done. 2 years later. And he said, I had to release this interview to keep my sanity. Threw his coach under the bus, threw the franchise under the bus, and then resurfaced something that was done. Completely done. And didn't take any accountability or responsibility for publicly shaming this other guy. Kevin Durant, on the other hand, just a shill. Just a, all right, yeah, I'll go on your TV show. And what does this do? What's at the core of this? Just like when I broke down this guy's story earlier today. What's at the core of this? Kyle, if you're still on, if you're listening, because you're the one sports guy I know that's on. What do you think's at the core of this? Why does this drop 2 years later? What is he getting from this? Kevin Durant's not going to come back to the team. He's not going to give an apology. He threw the team under the bus. It's a hell of a TV. It's a hell of a start to start your TV show. It's a hell of a way to start your new podcast or whatever. And you make $25 million a year from this franchise. You've worked over for 10 years. You throw the coach and the franchise under the bus. Wow. Unbelievable. Just unbelievable. Unbelievable. I saw the news today. I'm like, what is this? I like Draymond Green. I'm like, you're bringing this up? It's in the name of you getting your sanity back? You were the problem, dude. And this is what happens in breakups sometimes. It's like, a lot of times, that's why you need to talk to someone like myself or another coach and get some objective opinion. Like, do you realize what you're doing here? Take some accountability. Take some responsibility in your life. Ask yourself, why are you airing this show right now? What's the meaning? To get your sanity back? No. You got a TV show that's coming on and you want views and ratings. That's what it is. And you want to paint a picture that you didn't do anything that bad. It's bullshit. Because I'll tell you what, if I was in a ball game, playing in high school, if I was in middle school and we're out there playing on the court and we have a mistake and you go off on me as a teammate and call me a bitch and tell me the team doesn't need me and it's a tie game going into overtime, slice that, dice it, do whatever you want with it. You're wrong, dude. I just had to talk about that one today because it's really bugged me. And it's just a classic case of not taking responsibility or accountability. I was wrong. You're the core problem. All right. If someone leaves you, let them. Haven't dated. Petty Betty commitment became too real for him. I guess since I was going to graduate and was finally going to move in together since 50. Oh, you're 25? You're 25 coming out of a 10-year relationship, Crystal? Well, congratulations, hun. You're at the peak of your life. 25 years old? You know how many of us on this live stream want to be 25 again? If I could take my wisdom with me, as I say. But, hey, listen, it's not all bad, hun. 25? Just graduated college and you're single? Whew. We got to talk. This is a turning point in your life. You're at a crossroads. Everything happens for a reason. I do believe that. And certainly in this case, hey, 25 and single? No kids? He couldn't see my potential for the future, I guess. I should do a live coaching session. I'll check it out. Dr. Mack, he always confirms what I think or feel I should do. Sometimes we need a reinsurance from a non-biased person. Thanks, Petty Betty. Plus, he'll give you a refund if you feel he didn't help you. Thanks, Petty Betty. I hope your next relationship you can feel if he doesn't want you to be with you, then you don't forgive that. Yeah, one of the things when you break up is some of the things that are said at the end. Do you believe them? Some of the things that hurt you. 56 and never looked better, right, Roller Girl? Oh my goodness. No kids, master's degree, work out every day, love others. That's me. Okay, drop the mic. We're done. We're done. What's the master's degree in? I'm just curious. Thanks for the book recommendations. If anyone's interested in learning about personality disorders, I encourage the book, The Human Magnet Syndrome, Why We Love People Who Hurt Us. Okay. It is drop the mic, right? No kids, master's degree, works out every day, love others. Done. Thank you. There's your dating profile, hun. Don't even put a picture up. Isn't there modern shrink? Let me ask you this. Well, this is going really good today. We're coming up on 2 hours. I can tell this is going to be a marathon live stream. I'm glad my appointment got canceled. Isn't there a big danger in people reading these types of books and learning so much information on these mental illnesses? Is that a word? Personality disorders also? And then finding a way to identify with them, lockjawing onto these identifications or identities, and then it's hard to pry it loose. I don't like labels or identities when they're this negative. What's your take on that, Modern Shrink? What if we had no labels or identities for these issues and people just had to work through their problems? Is it not that simple? I mean, how did Native Americans and tribes go? Do you think Native Americans and tribes had all these words for different mental illnesses? Do you think they had these clarifications for people? Or they just went, oh yeah, you know, Chief John's nuts. I think it's worse when they don't know about these disorders and just label because they heard the label before. But that's rampant, correct, Modern Strength? Do you ever think about this? And this, like the attachment, thing, like avoidant and all those other ones. This is these were made up by people. In the early 1800s, we didn't have any of these labels. We probably just would call someone crazy or not crazy, or sad, not sad. But we have these disorders. We put people in these boxes, no S. Is that a good thing? Because I notice, and it's a question. This isn't me saying like, oh, I know better. I just notice that people, once they label themselves with these things, and they carry that around just like it's their name. And then it's hard to get it out of them. Think about this. Someone that's dug in. Someone that's dug in on being something. And you tell them, yeah, I mean, I think you can overcome this by, I think you can overcome your depression issues with regular exercise and a better diet. Right? Well, what would they say to me? You're nuts. It's not that simple. What if it was? What if you just don't want to exercise and eat healthier? What if you just try what I ask you to do? What does DSM-5 mean? Can you clarify? Because I like I said, I think the label thing's a big issue. I just do. I think that people, depression, is that what you're saying, Petty Betty? And I want to be clear. There's been a couple clients where they're like, I've had serious depression. I've had serious depression since I was a teenager. You don't know what it's like, Mac. It's this, that, and the other. And I go, look, when I ask these questions, it's skepticism. It's inquisitive. I'm not sure. But so many people have put labels over the top of them, and so many people are using it as excuses to not do shit. Just talked to a good friend yesterday. I think this is my take. Take it or leave it. Really, to do really good work and help people, you really need to know them individually, and their story individually, and what they're going through individually, and where they came up with this stuff. But the minute you tell them, oh, this is such and such, such and such, such and such, that's what you suffer from, here's a pill, or that's what you suffer from, that's why you're this way, then anything that goes along with that label, they add on. See, the fact that everyone's even familiar with this book. Oh, John, yeah. How's that going with the therapist? All right, folks, be patient with me. I got to take a pee break. Even therapists need therapists. Our brain can be one heck of a challenge. So, Crystal, you're a therapist also? A lot of people self-label through these diagnoses most of the time. Let's be honest. Compassion burnout is real. Crystal, you didn't tell us what your master's is in yet. We're waiting on bated breath here. I work out every day too. I love that. Great one. So what's the real problem, Crystal? You do all these things. You're 25 years old. What's the real problem? What's really holding you back? Modern Shrink, can I ask you your opinion on hypnotherapy? Personally don't like it for trauma, okay? Master's in social work, specifically clinical therapist route, clinical therapist on her way and earning her license. Yeah, I noticed, yeah. May I ask why you don't like it? And would you say that a breakup, would you say it's good for using in a breakup, just out of curiosity? Okay. And how did you come to that conclusion? Master's in social work, huh? Where are you at in the world, Crystal, out of curiosity? Man. I got one for you, Modern Shrink and Crystal. What do you think of parapsychology? What's your views on that? Southern California? Wow. I know SoCal. I lived in San Diego for a few years. Did a little time over there in PB and Mission Beach. To each their own, oh Johnny. To each their own. To each their own. Out of my scope. What university did you go to? When can we do the hypnotherapy? Tell me. Mary does this. She just emails me, hey, can we talk? Never uses the calendar. And I'm on the other side of the world. It's the hardest thing. Mary's the hardest thing. When someone emails me, they're like, hey, can we talk? Can I talk to you in an hour? It's like, I have to do the time zone change. It's not that simple. So what I will do is, yeah, Modern Shrink, where'd you go to university? I'm just curious. I got to send you a link. I got to send you a link. But we can do it soon, Petty Betty. We'll do it soon. I'll help you. I know. No, it's okay. There's some other people like that, especially when someone's a past client of mine. They have a right to email me. Anyone has a right to email me. I shouldn't say that. It's not like, oh, you can't email me, I'm too big. No. Sounds bad, right? But I know you. We're close now. We've talked. So it's okay. But sometimes, oh, Fresno, okay. I got a couple clients that live in that area. Actually, a client that went to Fresno also. I think he's late 20s also. Fresno. I'm gonna do a hypnotherapy program, Modern Shrink. That's what I'm gonna do for my next one. I'm gonna do it at the end of the year. I'm actually excited about it. I'm a marriage and family counselor. That's a identity statement. I think it's great. I think any modality that you choose to help people with good intentions, go for it. I think that I believe the best way to be is flexible. Skeptical is okay. Be flexible in your approach and be open to, if you thought something you didn't like before, but maybe you got a bad perspective because of the person that first told you about it. A lot of times that's the case too. I like hypnotherapy for my own experiences with it. But I'm going to get deeper though. I'm going to sign up for this program. It's going to be interesting. It'll be interesting. Real interesting. And EFT, some other things. EFT would be emotional freedom technique. There's so much out there now, Modern Shrink, right? I think what the cool thing is that there's so much out there now. If you use it in the right way, the way I look at it, you can create your own. I think the ideal thing is not to follow a textbook necessarily, but to create your own style. And I really like Milton Erickson's someone that I really look up to. Fritz Perls, Carl Rogers, Eric Fromm. There's a lot of these, but I think it's nice. You don't want to follow someone's exact stuff. I'm not saying you do that. But create your own style. I certainly feel like I do that now, being that I don't follow a textbook, right? I follow your story. I'm not one box fits all therapist. Good for you. That's why you like my live stream, probably. All right, folks. Any closing questions? No? This was a good live stream today. We unpacked a couple stories. We got to the bottom of a couple things. I'll contact you back, Mr. Kyle, if you're still on. I'm not sure. 10 on deck, 10 likes, $4.99 in the bin. CSU Fresno, I believe it's the Bulldogs, if I'm correct. Home of the great Paul George. And Trent Dilfer, I think, went there for a little sports. Thank you, Roller Girl. Thanks for being you. 56 never looked so good. Right? Thanks for always chiming in. Thanks, Windy Dawn. Thanks for always saying thank you at the end. Windy Dawn listens to the whole live stream sometimes. Doesn't say one thing, but at the end will always say something nice. Right? You're surprised I knew the Bulldogs, huh? I actually have a distant cousin that lives in Fresno. No problem, Crystal. And if you're 25, you got a master's degree, no kids, and you work out every day, what do you want to add to that? Start going on some bad dates, hon. What do I mean by that? Put yourself out there. Go for it. Where you at now, Modern Shrink? You said Central Valley? That's around Fresno, though. Right? Thanks, Petty Betty. I got enough for lunch. It's about 11:30 a.m. over here. Turlock. Okay. There's like a Turlock Lake. That's near Fresno, though. Turlock is. Go on to meetup groups. Dating apps sucks. Try a different dating app. I've had clients that tried. I mean, there's so many different ones right now, and I'm not well versed in them. But try a different one. Open yourself to trying a different one that you haven't tried yet. Right? And think about the places that you're meeting people. Yeah. I would say that if you go to well, right now, I don't know where you're at. Maybe the gyms are closed, but if you're active and you work out a lot, it's so tough now with the pandemic and stuff. One of the best ones though is if you ever do yoga, Crystal. That's a good place to meet people that are in good shape. All right. Take it easy, Crystal. I look forward to hearing from you possibly. If not, keep being you. It sounds like you're in a good position, hon. You just don't know it. Modern Shrink, thanks for always adding in your professional opinion. Roller Girl, always a pleasure. Petty Betty, I'll be in contact. Oh, Johnny, you are appreciated. New Jersey's finest. Windy Dawn, thank you. Kyle. Cess, I'll be in contact. Take it slow. It's curtains.